and for our mindfulness meditation together. As always, let your body just be still. Let it find a nice, comfortable position. Let your body breathe all by itself. Lips together, breathing in and out through your nose and from your stomach area. With your eyes closed and your mind awake, you are now relaxing. Feel your awareness enter your body. As you enter into a heightened state of self-awareness, you can feel your skin. You can feel your body weight sitting in the chair. You can feel the ground underneath your feet. You have awareness of the silence between your thoughts. You can feel the peaceful feeling in your heart and in your core as you relax deeper and deeper with each breath, each second, each passing moment, relaxing more and more, deeper and deeper, softer and softer. And as this delicious natural relaxation process flows through your body, in this mindful meditation, we're going to use the mind as a thinking tool to grow in wisdom, to grow in understanding, and to actually experience inside ourselves the change of emotion brought about by our skills, our awareness, and our use of the mind. As you know, every emotion that you feel comes from the stories inside your mind, the stories that you tell yourself about yourself and life, and the emotional content of these stories creates the emotions that you feel in your heart and in your core. So, when you are empathizing with somebody, when you are in a state of deep empathy, which is a very loving state to be in, you are actually feeling the emotions that are being described to you by someone else. As they describe their emotions, you feel them inside your body. Of course, they are your emotions and not the other person's, but they are the same emotions that the other person is feeling as they describe them to you. And in this way, you're empathizing with them. This gives you great insight into their experience of life. It's a great act of loving kindness, and it helps people to feel less alone, to feel more supported, to feel listened to, and to feel understood. Great healing takes place when empathy takes place. So you are very wise to empathize, and you are also very skillful to be able to do so. Also, of course, very loving, I must say. So, as well as feeling other people's emotions, the ones that they describe to you, you also have your own emotions of tiredness and sometimes distress, sometimes happiness, sometimes peaceful. If you find yourself over empathizing too much, too often, maybe too strongly, it's very possible to become overwhelmed by painful emotion that's inside you. And in this way, we can actually empathize too much. You know when you're empathizing too much because you feel exhausted and unable eventually to help the person that is in distress. You become dysfunctional. You become unable to help. This is how you know that you have empathized yourself into almost redundancy, into stagnation, into not being able to help. So, let me first of all invite you to think of a real situation. You probably already are, but let me formally invite you to think of a situation, visualize it, see it, revisit it best as you can. That's good enough. Where you were actually empathizing with somebody. And if you can think of an occasion when you were empathizing too much, where you felt exhausted and no longer able to help and support the other, then that is a perfect example of what we're exploring. And in this meditation, I'm going to offer you ways, several ways of switching off your empathic response so that you can re-enter back into that position of being able to help. Okay. So, as you remember back to a time when you were empathizing greatly, possibly empathizing too much, notice the feeling in your body as you remember back. Notice the emotional feeling in your heart and in your stomach. And I want to ask you some questions about this feeling. Now, as you remember that empathic experience, the experience of you empathizing, was the feeling inside your body comfortable for you? Take a moment to decide. Were you feeling good, comfortable, in a state of well-being while you were empathizing? If the answer is no, then you are empathizing too much. Highly skilled empathy is like a snapshot. It's a short, brief, appropriately timed feeling of empathy. The purpose of empathy, feeling someone else's emotion, is so that you can get a true and a real sense of someone else's suffering. Once you've got that sense, you no longer need to feel their pain. Once you feel that you've understood and felt what they're feeling, you've got it. You don't need to feel any more of their pain for you then to be able to help. So you can now switch it off. You can switch it off without feeling that you're being unloving. Once you've empathized, you've understood. And once you've understood, you are now in a fantastically brilliant position to be able to help and support. Maybe offering advice, maybe offering physical support, maybe just listening. But you can now become calm. So, how do you do that? The other person's still talking, still in pain. You can see maybe they're crying, maybe they're actually in physical pain, maybe both. And you can see with your eyes and hear with your ears that they are in pain. And your wisdom now tells you that the best way you can help them is by you becoming calm, emotionally calm. How are you going to do that? What's the skill? Okay. Now, as you know, and I know that you do, all of your emotions, all of everyone's emotions, comes from the stories that we narrate with our inner voice in our minds. So, to be able to shift from a painful empathic response to a calm, supportive response, helpful response, we need a calm, helpful story. We need to replace the empathic narrative that the other person is giving us with our own narrative, which enables us to feel calm and actually be a support. There are many, many stories. You, of course, will find your own, but I'd like to offer you a few examples that you might find useful. Let me offer you this. A powerful helping story, a calming, empowering, enabling story that you can quickly put into your mind whenever you need to switch off an over empathic feeling inside yourself that's debilitating you and preventing you helping others, goes like this. For me to be able to help this person to the best of my ability and successfully, I now choose to feel calm, the emotion of calmness, because I know that as I feel calm, the other person will mirror that calmness to a certain extent, possibly even a great extent sometimes. And in this way, just by me feeling calm, I am helping them. I'm helping them much more powerfully and positively than if I was feeling their distress. Now, that's a very long story. You can shorten that into a much shorter sentence. But that's the meaning of that story. The core of that simply lies in the more calm I feel, the more I am helping the other person. Once you've empathized and understood their position, you can drop straight into calmness. And by doing so, you are helping them far more practically, far more emotionally, and far more psychologically than staying in the empathic pain. Just by being calm, you are bringing calmness to the situation. Calmness is a state of healing. When someone is calm and relaxed, they are healing. By you being calm and relaxed, you are bringing healing to the circumstance of that situation. To make a fruit cake, you have to add fruit. To enable healing, you have to add calmness. By you choosing calmness when someone else is in distress, you are helping all three aspects of the other person. You're helping them to think more calmly, feel more calmly, and you're even calming their central nervous system down just by you being calm and them being in your presence. The mirror neurons in the other person's brain will be picking up on your calmness without them realizing it. And so, to some extent, you will literally be calming them down just by you choosing calmness for yourself. So as you walk through life, loving others, looking after them, and as they in return love and look after you, remember the stories in your mind that make you feel calm, peaceful, and relaxed enable you to help others more than any other story that exists, even knowing their distress story. So you have permission. In fact, it is wise to give yourself permission. Once you have understood the other person's situation and experience through empathic listening and empathic feeling, you have the information, you get the information. And once you've got it, once you've got the understanding of the other person, then you can become calm. You can let go of their pain. Use your conscious inner voice to narrate the story of wisdom, a wise story of calmness to yourself, such as the one we have explored together. And as you enter into calmness, you'll be able to see the other person slowly, gently, maybe, over time, becoming more and more relaxed, more and more peaceful, as they also enter into the solution experience, the healing experience of calmness. And in this way, you can use your empathic skills to heal others, to help others, also to heal and help yourself, and maintain your own well-being as you do so. So as we arrive very gently at the end of our mindfulness meditation, let me invite you to notice the light coming in through your eyelids, the feeling of your body weight resting, and the solid ground underneath your feet. And when you're ready, simply open your eyes and notice how good you feel.